Chris, looks like you're fixing to go.
I am. It's been a nice week, but it's time to get home.
Hi, I'm Micah Woods. This is Kart Rides with Micah. I've been working at a golf tournament in Georgia with Chris Tritabaugh and Chris Skronski.
Hello.
We're going to talk a little bit about turf grass as we make our way to Atlanta.
Haven't we done this before?
Yeah, let's do it again.
Okay.
Skronski, do you listen to turf-related podcasts or golf or news or travel podcasts?
I do. Most of my podcast listening is more on the competitive golf side, but on the turf side, I listen to the Talking Greenkeeper. I think is an excellent one. The USGA Green Space podcasts are phenomenal. I think mainly it's just with you two, are the ones that I listen to.
Oh, with Tritabaugh and me?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
We got a treat for you then.
Oh, what is that, Chris?
Well, given that we were staying together the week of the mat this week during the golf tournament, we recorded some podcasts in our downtime. And
Actually, we didn't have a lot of downtime, but we took time out of our rest.
Yeah, rather than coming back dog tired, instead of going right to sleep, we took time to record information that we think the golf course turf industry will really want to hear.
And so where will people be able to find those? Maybe by the time this is released, people will start to be able to find those?
Right. Yes, I'm looking at releasing them in chronological order sometime probably next week. And they will be available through my Substack newsletter, the CT_turf newsletter, or on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, the CT_turf podcast.
Okay, you know what I'm gonna do, Chris? I'm gonna put a direct link to those in the description of this video so that anybody who wants to can kind of get a heads up and make sure they're subscribed to those so they can see those as they come out. And if you're watching this sometime in the future, then you will find those archived on those sites. That's going to be pretty awesome.
I think so too.
Do you think you'll listen?
I will listen to every single one of them.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear your feedback on it.
I can't wait to give it to.
You put a little bit of gas there, but you didn't fill up, Chris. You think we got enough to get all the way to the airport?
Well, I didn't want to have to mess around at the gas station at the airport or near the airport, so I just paid for leave it empty, basically, when I rented the car. And so I put some in. It says I got 154 miles to go. The Navy says I got 87 miles to go. So really, I've got a nice buffer that I know I'm not going to run out. It's basically the same thing as MLSN.
Chris, I'm trying to remember what we talked about last year on this car ride. I think it was something about how you were going to manage the greens at Hazeltine, the bentgrass greens last year, trying to do maybe no in-season top dressing, no in-season cultivation. I'm wondering if you did end up doing that last year and how it worked out with the greens.
Yeah, I mean, based on our soil tests the previous year, we decided not to do a spring aeration.
That's the OM246?
The OM246 method, yeah. And then we did another OM246 and decided that we were not going to aerify in August as well. No in-season top dressing. We do our normal top dressing, a big one after we close. And overall in the year, the putting surfaces were phenomenal. They were firm, fast, and really everything that we ever wanted to do.
That's awesome. You didn't lose any grass?
No, we did not. Not a single.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. You're chuckling, Chris, but now I'm going to hit you with a really hard question. You didn't punch any holes all year long, did you?
That's correct. No holes.
No holes. The last holes that were punched were late August of 2021?
I think early August of 2021, if I remember.
But then you did a follow-up solitine, I think.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I think it was late fall, like maybe beginning of October 2021.
Okay, so then all through 2022, no holes. Now I'm going to hit you with a big question. how was your infiltration rate?
That's an interesting question because I don't really think about it. I guess my opinion on infiltration rate would be that what I want is that when the team are out hand watering in the morning, that they can get the water to go into the profile at a reasonable rate, but it also doesn't need to disappear instantly. And then our irrigation, or any irrigation that we apply, is also going in the way that we would want it to, infiltrating the way we'd want it to. But, I don't see any need to chase some kind of a massive infiltration rate with a lot of coring and holes and sand, because I would rather just produce great conditions every single day and know that the water is infiltrating in a way that does what we need it to do, as opposed to just disappearing instantly. Because in what setting are golfers really out there playing in a situation in which you need that water to absolutely just suck into the green like it's being vacuumed in? I don't think that is really a case. Golfers are playing 98 to 99% of their time on our greens in conditions in which there is not rain taking place, and so I would rather just give them the very best golf conditions that we can possibly give.
But what if you get a thunderstorm or it rain? Let's say you got a thunderstorm overnight, and then people need to play the next day.
Yeah, in those instances, it's fine. That has not been a problem. The water infiltrates plenty fast for those types of situations, and oftentimes people will talk about maybe the surface getting sealed when you're operating under sort of like tournament ready conditions. And what I will find is sometimes the rain will come down and it will take a little while and it breaks that seal, and once it breaks that seal, the water will then infiltrate appropriately to be able to continue to play golf or go back out and play golf again in a fairly reasonable time frame.
Can I ask you a little bit about this year, and then next year? Next year you've got the U.S. Amateur Championship.
That's right.
Which is kind of a big deal.
That's right, yeah.
And this year you'll have, of course, the club events. And any other tournaments this year?
We don't have anything this year other than our major club events and our usual sort of frequent tournament, just frequent event schedule that we tend to maintain throughout the summer. But you're right, we had the U.S. Amateur in 2024, and again, in an event like that, I would be looking to provide the very best conditions we can for all of the days of the competition. Firmness, speed, working in conjunction with the USGA, and infiltration rate will really be something we'll be thinking about during that period.
What about soil oxygen and other things? Like, I know a lot of people are doing venting, solid tining, slicing, just anything to get more air into the surface or get more air into the root zone. And you're not doing that, but you didn't lose any grass.
That's correct. And what I would imagine is that we have a USGA root zone, so regardless of all these things that we do, there's some amount of pore space in that root zone that's going to be maintained regardless of whether we're punching the holes or not. So that seems to be enough. Of course, we've gone 1+ year now without making some holes in the greens, and we may do some holes in August of 2023. But I'm betting on the fact that the holes that I used to think were absolutely necessary and vital are not as important as I once thought.
And do you do deep irrigation or flushing type irrigation to try to kind of move water through the root zone and then suck some new air, fresh air into the root zone? Or do you do light and frequent irrigation?
I would call our irrigation mostly light and frequent, mostly with hoses. Sometimes we will utilize the overhead irrigation to catch up, or oftentimes we'll apply a heavier amount, which I would say would be about 1/2 of an inch to sort of re-wet our entire profile. But I don't typically tend to put down an amount of water that would be considered to be a flush. And in our climate in Minnesota, frequently we'll have thunderstorms, and that will sort of take care of that process for us on a fairly regular basis.
Well, looks like we made it. I think you'll make your flight.
I sure will.
I definitely will.